On Monday, a private religious school in Nashville, Tennessee, was targeted for a mass shooting. And now we're getting some details about what happened, how many were killed, and of course, the identity of the shooter. So now on Monday, a shooter entered the Covenant Christian Presbyterian, which is a private school, and gunned down several people before being fatally shot by police. So now in this case, the police did what they were supposed to do. This was not a Uvalde type of situation. They responded, again, within about 14 minutes of the alleged gunman entering into the school. And so no hesitation. There's body cam footage, that has been released of the situation. Again, no hesitation in taking out this, essentially this mass shooter. Okay, so now, unfortunately, the victims, so far, including the gunman, there were 7 victims. 3 were children under the age of 10. 3 adults were also killed. And getting back to the police here, according to Metropolitan Nashville Police Chief John Drake, of the officers, quote, "They didn't hesitate at all." Well, look, they did what they were supposed to do. So that's not going to be of issue at all, their response. Okay. So now, those are the basic facts. So what we get into now is the dispelling of certain narratives. Okay. So look, whenever there's a mass shooting, the day that it happens, there's a lot of information, sometimes a lot of inaccurate information. And look, and I think a lot of that, of course, is just like initial reporting. There's a lot of confusion about what's going on. And, that's definitely a part of that. And then also, I'm going to have to note that there are some people who just put out inaccurate information. And so that's something that we have seen before. And we'll see if that's the case here. But so far, what we know from the details is that the shooter was a 28-year-old assigned female at birth, transgender man named Audrey Hale. Now, that is his dead name, I believe. As far as I know, he hadn't changed his name legally, and so he also apparently wanted to be known through a different name. But I will address him, of course, as just Mr. Hale. So, again, he identified as a trans man and was a former student at this private religious school. Police are still, of course, looking for a motive, but I think there's reason to believe that this is personal. Okay. And so now he was armed, apparently, with at least an AR-15 rifle, another assault style pistol or rifle. I'm not entirely sure. Again, the details are not entirely clear here. And a pistol. Police had also found several weapons at his home, as well as detailed plans to do other shootings, attacks, and a manifesto, which, again, we don't necessarily know. And so now Drake had told CBS on Tuesday that detectives believed that Hale had resentment towards the Covenant School, which, again, is a private religious school, and which, by the way, is next to a church, pretty much church property, not a public school, and basically taught preschool to 6th grade students. Hale had targeted and planned the shooting. So, okay. Now, this shooting, again, since it involves, from what we know right now, a transgender male, we know what this conversation is going to be mostly about, that you're going to see on the news. It's going to be about trans. It's not going to be about weapons. It's not going to be about AR-15s. It's not going to be about guns. No, this conversation is already all about trains. And I'll give you some examples of it in the following segments. And so that's unfortunate. Now, look, this is despite, by the way, the fact that transgender people are disproportionately underrepresented as those who engage in violence and mass shootings. You just don't see that happen very often. It's incredibly minuscule. Out of all the mass shooters, you have the tiniest percentage that happen to be a trans person. Generally, it tends to be males, young white males, who make up most of the people who are involved in mass shootings, who engage in mass shootings. Now, again, what made this different and stand out a lot is generally people who are assigned female at birth and identify as men, trans men. You'll just about never hear of any situations where there is violence involved. And so this really is an edge case, not something that happens often at all. But again, what you're going to hear, and this is why I'm giving you this information, what you're going to hear is testosterone. What are the effects of testosterone on a female body? Violence, mental illness. So we already know. We already know this. So I'm already trying to get out of this. Look, here's the thing. The real problem is that people in this country, in the United States, are able to amass an arsenal, their own personal arsenal of guns, and use them to carry out violent, terrible acts against innocent people. I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe in defending yourself. Yeah, of course, I've been clearly on the record. Hale, he was not defending himself. What he did was mass murder, and it was wrong. Now, what does that have to do with this treatment? Or I should say, does it have to do with this treatment of being transgender? I don't know, but I don't really care. Innocent children shouldn't be massacred for any reason. I think we can all agree with that. And by the way, everyone, it doesn't matter where you are in the political spectrum, agrees that school shootings need to stop. Personally, I believe that would start with trying to rein in, to do what every other country, modern industrial country, has done, to rein in some of these weapons. Because in those other countries, they do not have mass shootings that happen with the frequency and the toll that it happens in America. That should be the main focus of this conversation, not some of the other things that you're going to see from different types of ideological news outlets.